Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sorry I am a little bit late. It is time for another Sunday night live stream. Now, I'm going to be doing a shorter stream than usual tonight. Hopefully that woke you all up. We're probably going to be going half an hour or so. Worst case, it's going to be about 1:45. There are some reasons for that, which I don't go into, but I did still want to get the stream in. Sorry, I just had to run down and get myself a drink. I don't even have a cup of tea today. Now, hello, I hope you are all safe and well. I can see that there are 80 of you here tonight. The subjects we're going to cover are chargers getting worse, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it is an interesting discussion that we've been having on my Discord server that, frankly, it seems that many of the brands who sell chargers are all having problems with their products at the moment. And whilst it's nothing specific, there does seem to be this trend of chargers are getting worse and not better. Now, I do intend to make a proper video on this, and I have put a message out on the community page asking for people, tell me if you've got problems with your charger. I'll be honest, I don't want to know if your charger's working fine. I don't care. What I'm interested in, what is not working, because it does seem that buying a good charger today is quite a difficult task. We're then going to come on a little bit about Caddx and the situation with the Goggles X. A couple of people have pinged me, and there are more and more reports of issues popping up, and I just want to talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to move on to the cameras that are now being sold by FLywoo for the DJI O3 system. But before everyone gets excited, it's basically the same thing from AliExpress. And I can't remember what else I put in the dock, and we'll get through it as we move through. Bardwell's opening music is better. Yeah, I bet it is. Bardwell's a professional YouTuber, that's why. I don't know what I've got playing at the moment, to be honest. I might get you some hip-hop or rave. I'll get you some 90s dance music for next week. There you go. There's a promise for you. So, anyway, I hope you're all safe and well. Hello to everyone in the chat. I'm going to open my can. Now, if there is any noise in the background, please ignore it. I'm doing a 3D print at the same time. This is a 3D print that has a huge amount of potential to fail. I did just put a picture of this print up on my Discord server. It's actually a bracket for the HDZero GPS. If I just go to the desktop and show you this, I'm currently in the process of printing this. It has every opportunity to go wrong. We've gone for tree supports on it as well. So it's a HDZero Pro stand for coming off to the side, and it's got supports there. Should we have a look at how far through it is, actually? Let's have a look. Bamboo Studio. I closed Bamboo Studio when I shouldn't have. Let's just wait for Bamboo Studio to open, and then we can have a look at the camera just to see how far through it is. We go to device. Let's go to playback, and let's have a look at where we're at. Oh, there we go. That's where we're at. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I did put a brim on it just to make sure that it did go through. Interestingly, it didn't add supports to any of this area here. And I don't know, that looks a little bit rough from here. I don't know how that's going to come out. I don't really care, if I'm honest. This isn't a print that I'm particularly concerned about. That looks good. It's a functional print. It's designed to hold a Here Pro off to the side, and there's going to be a mirrored version of it, which flips it the other way, where there'll be two Here Pros standing up above the props on the aircraft. But yeah, it hasn't fallen over yet, so that's a good sign. Now, I hope you are all safe and well. Printing it in PETG. I could have done it in carbon fiber PETG, actually. I have been drying it, but at the moment, I have been printing it in PETG just to see how it is. But because it's on pretty much full chat, it is a little bit noisy. And in fact, let me just do one thing. I want to pull the door open because the door's closed itself a little bit, and I don't want it cooking. Because if I don't, it'll overheat. Oh yeah, it's definitely a little bit rough. It's definitely a little bit rough under the overhangs there. Definitely is. So that area there is definitely rough. I'm surprised it didn't put supports on that. I'm probably pushing the overhang limit to the max. I don't really care. As long as it's structurally solid and it works, everyone will be happy. Okay, so as I've said, the first thing I want to talk about tonight is chargers. Now, I'm not going to go into any great detail on this. However, really, I'm interested in knowing about your experience with chargers, because at the moment, it's becoming the case, it seems, that it's really hard to buy a good charger. And obviously, you've got some good brands out there. You've got Hotel, you've got ISDT, you've got Toolkit RC and a few others. You may have noticed a tone change in my voice when I mentioned Toolkit RC. Unfortunately, I'm not really doing anything with their products on the channel right now. They do make some really nice chargers, but out of 4 devices that I have from Toolkit RC, 3 of them have issues. And it's just a brand I don't know if I can recommend anymore. I just don't understand the issues that they're having. Would you mind turning the volume up? I'm blasting on my side. If anyone tells this a bit quiet, let me know. I'm intrigued. We should be on this mic. This is the mic that should be working. Just tell me it is working. I'm talking now, and I've got the overhead there, and it shouldn't be on the overhead. It should be on this one, is what it should be on. However, the sound is very low. Interesting. Peeking over here. Yeah, you're working fine. Mic is okay. Yeah, weird. Okay, it could be a YouTube thing. I don't know. Try refreshing the screen. But anyway, with regards to chargers, there's definitely something that seems to be going on for many of the brands, and I'm interested in doing a video on it. Now, I've not done a lot of reviews on chargers, although what I absolutely have learned is from all of the issues people have posted, a whole new set of tests that I will do on any chargers that I get in the future, whilst I do all of the usual tests like load testing, voltage testing. There's a massive bunch of other tests that I haven't done that appear now to be very relevant. And that is testing such as if it's a dual AC and DC charger, making sure that when you're on AC, the DC port is dead, because people could have a battery still plugged in the DC port whilst plugging in the AC. And whilst that isn't recommended, it is something that people could end up doing. So there's a lot more tests that I would probably be doing on chargers in the future. And it's going to be interesting just to see how much feedback we get. And we'll just have to go from there. Now, as I've said, I'm not going to go on to that subject for too long tonight, because there really isn't a lot we can say at this point. We do know the Toolkit RC ones are pretty ISDT have generally been very good, but there has been some posts of charger issues posted. A power supply one, for instance, that put the wrong power delivery voltage to a Steam Deck, which is very, very worrying. And just a whole host of other strange issues. And it almost seems like the older stuff is really good, but the newer stuff seems to be dodgy. And I'd like to do a video based on the community feedback, because what I can't do is go out and buy 50 different chargers, 60 different chargers. It's just not a reasonable thing to do. What I want to do is a sort of talk video on this is the issues that we're facing. This is the issues that I've had, and I think manufacturers need to do better. But I want actual real-world data to base that on. The Hotas are meant to be very good. ISDT I thought was a great brand until some of the stuff I've seen. Printed some XT60 plugs for my DC port when using AC. Yeah, there has been some issues. I've lost batteries due to leaving them plugged into chargers while the charger was powered off and sucked them dry. Yeah, that's another issue. Parasitic current draw. We need to really start testing parasitic draw when the charger's turned off. DC port versus AC port when either is powered. And literally all of these kinds of tests. So that's the situation with that. Let me just refresh my live chat. My second live chat window is running ridiculously slow. That's weird. That's weird. Okay, it's caught up, I think. Is it caught up now? Yes, it has. Finally. Right. Now, just before we move on, someone's just asked a question. One Willie FPV. I'm building my first 5-inch 6S drone with an unused ESC for my flight. Is there any capacity? And there is a capacitor up to 220 volt, 50 volt. Is it okay? Yeah, a 220 UF, 50 volt. 220 microfarads, 50 volt. Absolutely fine. No problem at all. That'll be okay. So that'll be good. My D6 Pro is on 230 volt defective. That actually seems really common, is the AC side failing on these power supplies. Many of these dual supplies, the AC side is where the majority of the issues are. But that's that. Okay, so that's the first subject covered. Next, I want to talk about Goggles X because it's been an interesting week. Now, as a very quick update, there's been no new firmware released from Caddx. Where are mine? I've lost them already. They should be to hand because I was using them. Okay, I've lost them. There's no new firmware. I'm a bit disappointed in the fact that Caddx have not issued any notifications to users about what the firmware situation is. They have not released a new firmware update, and they have not put any comment out to the community with regards to the situation with firmware. And I think that is appalling. Frankly, it is not good enough. They've had a full week after I published that video last Sunday to just put a note up saying, hey, we've seen some of the feedback with regards to firmware. In front of the oscilloscope. Ah, yeah, there they are. Sorry, I had them. I was testing something on them just a little bit ago. Hey, we've had the feedback from the community on firmware. Here is the situation. Yet, radio silence. And I think that's terrible. And I'm going to say it. And I think Caddx need to do better. And what's more disappointing is that they still haven't acknowledged this is an issue for users. And again, people are just left. And I've seen another post today on their Facebook group saying, hey, I can't find the firmware to go with the other ones. So that's the first thing to mention. Now, as these goggles are getting into people's hands, let me just go to the full screen. We are starting, I'm going to move that out because we're not sponsored by Pepsi. We are starting to see more and more issues appearing as people get their hands on them. And I have seen people comment on going, oh my God, they're all terrible. Look, the very simple reality is right now, we simply don't know the volume of them that have been sold compared to the volume of issues. You have to remember, someone who gets their goggles and likes them generally doesn't run out and say, hey, these are amazing. But anyone who gets a problem is the first person to run onto social media and say, my product isn't working properly. So there is always an amplified sense of issues on social media compared to reality. Now, I know this probably more than most people, and let me just stop my printer image in the corner of my eye because it's moving around. I used to help run the DJI Facebook groups, 6 of them. I, in fact, was the person that helped created the current official DJI Facebook group. For those who've been around a long time, it actually used to be the DJI Displays group for the Crystal Sky monitor and just for the Crystal Sky monitor, pretty much. And then when DJI FPV came out, I was the main admin of that group, and I turned it into the group it was. But I used to manage with the DJI official staff the official groups. Now, the reason I'm bringing this story up is I remember when the Mavic 2 Pro launched, one person got their new drone, dropped it, and the gimbal hit the corner of the table, and the gimbal motor became unstuck from the gimbal arm. And it turned out that the gimbal motor was actually glued to the gimbal arm. Now, this person went on Facebook and said, I've just got my brand new DJI Mavic 2 and the gimbal has fallen off, and left out the part about him dropping it and hitting it on the table. This was one person and one gimbal. Within 2 hours, that had spread around every DJI Facebook group and forum. We, in the end, had to close the Facebook group for about 3 hours because I am not crapping you. There was a new post and comment on this. More than a second. Every second there was a new post saying this drone is full damage. They're all going to be like this. Everyone I have never seen anything like it in my life. I remember we were trying to sort of control it because the first thing is new product, it's landed. The guy goes, my gimbal is broken. Oh, it's only held on with glue. Everyone then goes mental, going, my gimbal, are they all going to be like this? All of the gimbals, DJI making products with glue and it's not going to hold. It was insane. I wish there was someone here who remembers it because it was bonkers. However, the whole point of this conversation is that was one person with one gimbal, not Phantom, Mavic 2 Pro. This was the Mavic 2 Pro. There was one gimbal. There was never another one of these that ever came unstuck. But the reaction online was just incredible. We were deleting posts. We couldn't control the group. The group became insane with the amount of people reposting it, linking it, posting it. In the end, what we did is we closed the group to new members for about 2 to 3 hours and basically removed all new posts and cleared it all up and just said, this is what's happened. And then it turns out 2 days later, we found out the truth. The guy dropped the gimbal and it caught the corner of the table. And it was just, it's mental that the social media amplification of something negative is beyond anything that you will ever get on a positive side. So whilst you might be seeing comments online of these goggles failing and things, we don't know the numbers. I'm watching them really closely, and I'm not saying this to protect Caddx. I don't care about Caddx. If these goggles are a load of crap, you're going to get a video from me telling you. Look, I can only base my experience based on my PVTs. I don't know if these were hand-built. Well, they're all hand-built, but I don't know if these were held together absolutely, fairy dust sprinkled over them to get them perfect. I can't comment on that. So I am watching things really closely, but I have enough experience of how crazy things get to take caution before doing anything. So the issues people are reporting are display issues, with the goggles displays not being the same, one being faded, one not. Stuck or damaged pixels, that sort of stuff happens. Overheating is a new trend I'm starting to see. However, the first person I had reach out to me about the overheating, it turns out his fan wasn't running. And there has been a post put up today, and I was tagged in it with 2 people reporting overheating. But I have now asked if their fans are running. Let me actually even look if they've replied, because it's a very important factor. No, no one has replied yet. But I can't comment. If their fans aren't running, it's possible the fans are faulty and the goggles are overheating. I've not experienced any overheating on mine as they've come. The fan works fine. You'll know when the fan is on these goggles. It ramps. It moves around. There's no issues at all. But look, I'm monitoring all the issues. It is way too early to say Caddx have this problem, Caddx have that problem. Let's wait and see. Right now, we've got to get the initial batches out. We don't know how many that is. I have no idea. I reckon it's probably a few thousand. I reckon it's 2,000 or 3,000. Let the issues get out. Let's then see what Caddx do about it. If Caddx take all of the goggles that are not right and replace them, and all of the replacements are right, everyone's happy, that is it. Straightforward enough. The issues, though, that are being posted are displays not behaving properly. So dimming on one side, not correct. Goggles overheating. Dead pixels, stuck pixels. But the latter is somewhat common with OLED displays. We've had one report, a user on my Discord had his system crash. I've not seen that, and he's not using the new beta firmware either. And really, overall, look, it's pretty normal stuff. There's nothing I'm seeing here that I haven't seen on a HDZero release, on a DJI goggles release. It's all the same stuff. So let's wait and see. If, though, Caddx don't start repairing them, don't start offering solutions to people, or it turns out there are more issues than we originally thought, then obviously I will be very straightforward. I will make a second video on that, and I will take the review down, as I would with anything. There will always be teething problems. We've got to get through this early bit first. Jimmy's just said, I had the flickering screen and the battery drain quick. On the firmware update, fixed the power drain from the fan. Stuck wide open. Screen flicker was the LED wired between the module. Yes, and I've seen a couple of people mention this. If you're having screen flickering, the LED wires for the modules on the front, and let me just go to the overhead. If I can get this off on mine here. Let me just do this and show you. I can't remember how easy it is to get this front off. There we go. Right, so that's not in focus. There. Okay. So when you pop the front cover off, the wire here should go through a gap there. Sorry, it's really hard to show you, but it should go through there. Now, there is reports of the wire being pinched. Now, mine actually even looks like it's been pinched there as well. So if you are having issues, you might want to pop this cover off. You might want to pop the top cover off and just check that that isn't the case. And then it just clips on like that. I have seen people say you've got to take the top cover to get the fronts off. You absolutely don't. If you want to get the fronts off, just get like a sharp thing, pop it in, and they pop free. As easy as that. The cat father, sorry, but garbage. Sorry. No. Every product has issues. Every product has issues. Every product has teething issues on manufacturing. Everyone. There isn't a product out there that doesn't have failures on day one. There isn't a product out there that doesn't have ongoing issues. There is no perfect product. There are people who buy brand new. There are people today, right? This just about context on some stuff like this. There is a batch right now of DJI Ronin 4s. Sorry, not the Ronin 4. The what's the big gimbal? I can't remember what it's called. It's not the RS4. I've forgotten what it's called. The 5 to 10 grand thing. that they're all coming with dead batteries. Bearing in mind, this is like a 5 to 10 grand product, and they're coming with damaged batteries and won't work. And I've seen 5 posts of people picking them up off the shelf. And I know why, because they're issuing them with TB50s, and it's the same issue that DJI have had with all of their other products. The 4D. Sorry, they're only in 4D. People are getting their own in 4D. People are making excuses but didn't have these issues with the V1s. Yeah, there were. There were issues with the V1s. There were absolutely issues with the V1s. But here's another point to make on the V1s. There were OLED issues, but the V1s were made by Fat Shark, who have many, many years of experience of making goggles. So you have to take that into account. It wasn't Caddx's first goggle, the V1. The V1 is actually manufactured by Fat Shark. As such, it has their experience. Oh, yeah, the V2s with the activation mess was a crap show. Remember, DJI was shipping V2 goggles that users couldn't use because they were shipping them with the firmware for the FPV drone, which had to be activated with the FPV drone, which people didn't have. So people ended up having to get the modules sent to them that some dealers did send. They basically broke down an FPV drone into a module and posted it out to people to allow them to activate it. Look, there are always issues. But, really simple, if Caddx don't honour the fix in the warranties, if Caddx get ongoing issues for months, then it will be a different story. We're still in that initial period. Let's get through it. HDZero had it. DJI generally has less, but come on. DJI is the peak. If DJI get it wrong that they're selling goggles that people can't activate, I think everyone else will have issues here and there too. That's the reality. That's the reality. So, situation today, we're monitoring. I'm watching very closely. I'm now waiting to see what Caddx does. And look, anyone who's watching this, if you get problems with Caddx, doesn't resolve it, reach out to me. I want to know. I can only talk about this stuff if I know. It's that simple. What's interesting is I haven't really heard any feedback of people who've had the issues on getting it resolved. That I haven't had yet. So, that's that subject. We'll wait and see, and hopefully, I think in a little bit, we'll see a lot of this die down. They sent you a replacement wire. See, that's great, and as long as they're doing stuff like that, that's what's important. Now, before we move on to the next subject, I just want to say, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. I am just looking down now. Thomas just said, hey, what should I do? My TBS tracer gets outperformed on 1 watt with P to the penetration by 600 watt analog transmitter. Get rid of tracer is my honest answer. So what you're saying is tracer is outperformed by the 600 milliwatt analog video transmitter. I'd suggest getting rid of tracer. I'm sorry, but I just move on. Get yourself ExpressLRS. There's not a lot else to do other than that as saying check your antenna orientation. Remember, I'm not sure what radio you're using, but if you're using the Mambo, it's got a horizontally polarized antenna on board. You could try mounting an external antenna on it as well. There is, because remember, the Mambo has an internal antenna that is horizontally polarized. It sits at the top of the PCB. So if you're holding the remote like this, just be aware of that. I don't know how you're holding your remote, especially if you're doing things like putting the remote between your knees and stuff like that. Just make sure there's plenty of space around it. That's about what I would say. Yeah, there is a lore update. I haven't tried it. Look, I gave up on tracer. I really did. I'm flying the Mambo, but have never tried tracer. It's yeah. Obviously, it will depend on your packet rate as well. Remember that. The lower the packet rate, the better it will work. I just can't remember. Can you set the packet rate in Tracer? It's been a while. I'd have to think about that. Okay. Next, moving on to the next subject, and that is this. FLywoo have started to sell the DJI O3 camera modules. Now, if I just go on to this and search, I hate these websites that move this search term. FLywoo have started to sell this camera module. I might have to... Oh, all of the spam on these bloody websites. Okay, so they're selling a replacement camera module and the PCB only part of it as well. Now, there is something very interesting about this. Now, if you remember, AliExpress was selling the camera modules only. I have one in front of me here. For those who haven't seen one, this is one of the AliExpress cameras. This camera will not activate. It will not calibrate. I've been doing some other tests with it, but this is one of the ones. But people have sort of said things like, oh, you know, they're aftermarket cameras. These are not third-party cameras. These are made by whoever makes the cameras for DJI. For starters, the sensor that DJI uses on their cameras is pretty unusual, so people are not just going to be able to get that. And I have had the board under the microscope. It is identical. So the first thing to understand about these cameras is they are not made by a third party. They are not fakes aftermarket. They are made in the same factory by the same people, from the looks of it, as makes the original DJI camera. Now, the issue we don't know is what the situation is. I've said this before, my opinion on these cameras is that they are either black market and classed as faulty, and they're now being sold. I don't know what that faulty is, or the sensor manufacturer on DJI's behalf is now selling them under the radar, somewhat to the side. However, these cameras will not calibrate. And the reason we think for that, and we don't know for sure, is that these cameras haven't been in through DJI systems, allocated the proper DJI serial number, and allowing that then to be used. So when you use these cameras, you get a calibration error. However, as far as we know up until now, all you have is a calibration error on the screen. There is no other issues with the camera as a result of it. Gyro flow still works. All of the other stuff still works. But these were being sold on AliExpress. Now, though, FLywoo are selling them. But what's very interesting about this, and first of all, FLywoo are selling the naked module for just £23 in the UK, which is astonishingly cheap, which really makes me think these are faulty. These are designed to offer you a lens replacement. And you can use this basically as a replacement lens. And what they say is lens core. Now, what they do stress on their website with this is, please note that during using, you may notice an unremovable prompt in the right-hand side of your goggles. However, this does not affect the performance of the lens in any way. We assure you that the product has functioned perfectly and will not have any adverse effects. So what they're saying is you're going to get the same warning as you get from the AliExpress. What's really interesting is this. And this is that they're selling it fully housed. Now, this complicates things for me, because why would it be fully housed? Why would it be available with the cable fully housed? Yet again, it is more expensive, but if you go down, they will show you again, you're going to have the camera calibration error warning. But this is really odd for me. Now, there's only one of two things I can think of. Are FLywoo reassembling these modules into camera housings? And it's worth remembering that they may have camera housings because they also sell the air unit in the light and the ultra configuration without the housing. So they could actually be selling a camera module that they've bought in, putting it back into a housing and selling it as a whole. The other thing, and as GMI has just said, factory rejects. This all really doesn't add up to me, and there's something very, very odd about all of this. Now, these cameras are well priced. There's no complaints on the price of these at all, and it's actually, I'm really pleased to see someone like FLywoo making these available because it's a bigger brand and that means we shouldn't have any issues. My advice is to treat these as a lens replacement, not a module replacement. But there is something that smells off about this whole situation. Now, I am not expecting a response. However, I have written to DJI's press office and I have asked for an official statement on this situation. I have said that there are cameras become available on the market that are not functioning as they should. For instance, these cameras being made available through FLywoo and AliExpress are not working with the DJI software. They are not allowing users to calibrate, and as such, they are not providing the full functionality. Please, can you give me a statement on what the situation is with these cameras? Are they official products? Is there a good reason for why these won't calibrate? And I haven't had a response yet, but I will let you know if I do. Hello, bot. Now, something smells off. Something does smell off with these cameras. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't. Could they be getting... If they're getting them like that, right? If they're getting them like that, that's basically from DJI, in my opinion. But I think they could be putting them back together. I have also asked DJI if they will provide a solution to them not being able to calibrate as well. But we're going to have to wait and see if they reply. I hope you're well, bot. I've been watching your videos. You've been making me laugh, as always. Broke camera. Yeah, but why won't it calibrate? If that was the case, Gar, I'd expect them to allow it to calibrate. I'd just expect them to sort of let it happen. There's something off about these, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So, a question I know a lot of people have, is there any way to get rid of the message? No, not at this time. Does DJI supply replacement cameras? Yes, official ones, and they do calibrate, and they do work as expected. I think it's absurd people expecting the XT60 to be isolated from the mains. No, that's bloody basics. Sorry, that's a diode. The XT60 to be isolated from the mains is a one freaking diode. That is at minimum what should be happening on them. That is basic safety. I suspect this camera thing is about they're not going through DJI's internal processes. Diodes are expensive, yes. That 5 pence costs money. can't use a diode with it still being used in its external charger? Yeah, then you have a bypass circuit. You can use it. So what you're saying is if you want to be able to regen discharge, you can't use a diode. Well, you can. You just have it through a different part of the circuit. It's all very easily solvable. You either have to relay it, okay, that's a cost, or you actually have it so that the discharge element comes in the other side of the diode, not the AC circuit. It's all doable. It is all doable. Should check the firmware on the cameras and see what isn't filled out compared to DJI One. Actually, it's a very interesting point, Hot Rod in Daytona. We should be checking the serial number and the firmware version. That is a very good point. Serial number and firmware version. Okay, so that's the DJI cameras. We're going to have to wait and see. Wrong button. There it is. All good to go. Right. 2 more things before I wrap this video up today. Now, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who is watching. We've got 242 of you here. You people are amazing. If there are any questions, please do put it in the chat, and I will try and answer them before we finish up. One of the last things I want to share with you is the abomination that is the RC Benchy. Now, I've been wanting to do this project for some time, and I have started the radio control Benchy. Pardon me, bit of gas. The radio control Benchy. Now, obviously, to make a 3D bench, a radio control Benchy, you've got to start with a full-size Benchy, like we 3D printed here. Not your typical 3D Benchy, but we 3D printed that. And now we're at the stage here. Now, I have got the build for this so wrong on many, many levels. I've been throwing this together, and I tell you what I have got wrong is the motor, because I have completely overdone it. If I go to the overhead, let's zoom out a bit. So, ignore the lubrication for the prop shaft. Now, I'm doing this as loosely as I can, right? So this isn't going to be the tidiest build in the world. But what we have is a 3,600 kV motor. Yes, I have very, very much overdone it. This thing is probably going to spend most of its time up on the bow like that at this rate, because I can't get it over half throttle because it starts to rip itself apart. I've got to get some ballast in there, but I built the big motor I bought because I just clicked the first motor that I saw on the website. I 3D printed a bracket to hold it in place. You want a real tug post for that model. It's a racing Benchy, that is for sure. We went with a 4-inch prop shaft, which I've just sort of sprayed in glue. We've then got a full proper brass propeller on the bottom. Obviously, it sticks out a bit far. And as a result of it sticking out a bit far, I've ended up going with a side-mounted... Oh, my brain has just gone. Why not tilt the motor? Because I couldn't be bothered. Rudder. Yes, my brain is gone. That's it, rudder. I've had to go with a side-mounted rudder. I don't know how well it's going to work. I may end up getting 2 and putting 1 on each side. But I've gone for a side-mounted rudder. I've ended up having to glue on the bracket for that on the back. We're going to have to see how well this performs. We'll have issues. Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to have issues. It's definitely going to have issues. But I might go for dual rudders. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is going for dual rudders on the back, and that way we should be okay. I just couldn't get it out of my head a minute. It's going to be interesting. Keel rudder. It is a GPS. So that's where it's at today. Frankly, It is well overpowered, but I am thinking dual rudders on the back like that, which means I got to order a second one, which is easy to do, and then we can have them servo controlled. I could put it behind the prop. Ever rode a boat with a single oar? It's not fun. Yeah, I know. So it's going to end up... I could actually mount a bracket and stick it out beyond the prop. There is that option. That just means bringing it, like, here, doesn't it? I could do that. 15 kilo servo for that rudder. Yeah, I just went click, click, click. That will do. So what's your opinion? Dual rudders, or should I move it or extend the prop? Should I move it, or should I... dual rudders, or should I move it behind the prop? Dual. Behind the prop, dual rudders. Interested. Everyone's got a different answer. It does go like stink. Dual rudders. I think the duals should be fine, shouldn't it? I would have thought. And a smaller motor. Bigger boat to fit them. Good low speed performance. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is just doing like an A-frame out. I can undo this, and I have glued it, but I can move it. But look, the idea of this is just more than any dual paddle wheels. But it's going to have to run off 6 volt. It is going to go like stink. I should have tilted the motor up to get the tilt off the bracket, but I was too lazy. Heat from the motor? Nah, I'll worry about that when it melts the PLA. How hot can the motor get? Onboard jet drive. I did think about a jet drive. I did actually think about a jet drive on it. Run on 6S. You like the velocity joint? Yeah, it's on a hell of an angle, as you can see. I should have tilted the motor. No, this was printed on the Quiddy, the bigger printer, X Max 3. Not 100% perfect, but this is a scaled up model. But yeah, put some holes in for water cooling. It's a genuine Oh, it will have O3 on it. It is going to have FPV on board. Absolutely. But yeah, there are some tweaks. No steering, send it straight to hell. I haven't checked if it floats yet, but this frame, because this one actually isn't benchy, it's a Ben. And the Ben is the one that actually floats. So it's made of PLA. There's like a quarter of a spool of PLA in this one. Is the motor sealed? It is a waterproof motor, but it's not 100% sealed. But yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along. It's going to be a very, very big mess. That's for sure. We all know it's going to end very, very badly. It actually set one ESC on fire already in testing. But it's going to be fun. We'll need a bilge pump. No. I'll seal them. Or fill it with foam. How hot do those motors actually get? Will it melt PLA? Actually, that bracket's PET G, not PLA. PET G, the bracket is the boat PLA. Channel the ESC smoke out the chimney. Yes, so that is the plan. It is coming along. I've been sort of messing with it a little bit, but yeah, I'll create an A-frame. I've actually already created a frame for it. It was just too small. The prop stuck out a bit further than I anticipated. Probably should have gone for the 3-inch bracket, not the 4-inch prop shaft. But yeah, should be good. But yeah, part 1 of the video is actually finished. That'll probably be going up middle of the week, and then part 2. Yeah, it's gonna go like stink. That I can promise you. That I can promise you. It's going to go like hell. Can we get a Benchy? And it's a flat hull as well, you see, which doesn't help. So it's not a proper hull boat. could do with actually gluing on a bottom hull to it. Yeah, skip like stone across the water. Yeah, it could do with like a proper hull. Being flat bottom isn't great. Like a model chain. Yeah, yeah. As it's doing 40 miles an hour. So, I don't know. I haven't stuck it in water yet. This is literally... You might need a bigger rudder, to be honest, but it's a cool build. It's going to be an expensive submarine. For better yaw spins. Yeah, look, I know very little. I've built boats in the past, but what I went on this is I went on a website and went, that motor, that, and that was it. I didn't really do any investigation. You are literally getting 10 seconds of making choices here. Right. Everyone, this was always going to be a shorter stream tonight. Before we go, I just want to show you how that print has gone so far, where it has ended up. Where's the desktop? Oh, it's got to there. We're on the support. Cool, that looks rough as crap. I definitely overdid it on the angle with the overhangs. That's for sure. I clearly put a lot of thought into it. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. This is as stupid a project as I've ever done. It's getting there. It looks like it's going to finish and not collapse, which is a good sign. So we're just going to let the bamboo finish. Right, everyone. I want to say a big thank you for the 235 of you watching tonight. Charger question. When balancing, does the charger bleed off the power per cell or add power per cell? It generally bleeds off per resistor. There's a resistor on the... They have like a resistor bank in the charger and it bleeds off in general. It goes up and then comes back down. Generally how it does. Is normally how it goes. Needs more cooling. Probably definitely needs more cooling. Right, guys. I'm going to do a very short one tonight. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me. We normally do at least 2 hours, but tonight I'm going to keep it to less than an hour. It's been an interesting week. There's more stuff to come in the middle of this week as well, so please do watch around the channel. I want to say a big thank you to all the Patreons for watching. Everyone who has donated tonight as well. Let me just grab that, the viewer activity. I did get a couple of super chats. Bardwell's opening... Mum's icons better. Thank you for that. Toilet Duck 2 Australian 99. Hotray 6 outputs 29 volt on the DC port. 35 ZAR. Whatever ZAR is, I really appreciate it. And Rick Packman, small donation for Christmas beers. Thank you. Just received my box of CNC parts kit. Any chance of an install video anytime soon? Maybe over the Christmas period. That's it from me. Stay safe. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week. Take it easy. Look after yourself. And I'm out of here.